Hello everybody, thank you for joining me today. My name is Minam and today we're going to be looking at radiation uses in the medical industry. So I've already said our learning objective, but our learning objective is only to understand the uses of radiation in the medical industry. So if you're ready, let's get right into it. Okay, so the use of radiation and radioactive agents in medicine really boils down to two main areas. Diagnosis, so that's detecting when a disease is in the person's body and more importantly where it is, and then treatment, so actually getting rid of that disease. Let's have a look at diagnosis first. So the diagnosis first is done commonly by something called a tracer. The tracer is a solution made up a radioactive substance, commonly a gamma emitter, and this is then injected into the patient. Okay, then the patient is put under something called a gamma camera, which, as the name suggests, can actually see the gamma rays coming off a person's body. So can see gamma rays and produces a 2D, that is a very important point you need to remember, is 2D image, such as the one that you can see on the left here. So you can see that this is a person's whole body, right, that's been put under a gamma camera. They've had the tracer injected in them, and you can see where are these white spots. This is where the tracer has collected. Okay, so you can see it's in a place like the kidneys, it's in places like the thyroid, which is over here in the neck. It's in your shoulders. It's in your like the top of your spine here. These are places where the tracer starts to accumulate. So where it accumulates, it gives off even more gamma radiation, and where it gives off gamma radiation, more and more gamma radiation, the whiter it looks in the image. So here, if doctors know that, we can see the left kidney really visibly, but we can't really see the right kidney very visibly, that tells us that there's something wrong with the right kidney, right? Because not a lot of, or the left, whatever the doctors know, we can really early diagnose the problem here. Also, something I need to know about the tracer is that the tracer has a very short half-life. Often just days, often, often days. Okay, so this is so after the patient has left the hospital and has finished his or her diagnosis, right? You don't want that person to be walking around with lots of radiation inside of them, really irradiating them all the time. No, you want the half-life to be short enough that after a few days and after say like a couple of weeks, right, the level of radiation that they're experiencing falls to background levels. Okay, so then after we if we need a more thorough or deeper analysis than just a plain old gamma image, we can use something called a PET scan. So a PET scan is where we have our patient who still has the tracer injected in them, and they go into the gamma machine. Sorry, not the gamma machine, the PET machine. Now this looks a lot like an MRI scanner. Well, they have very common links between the two technologies, but what you need to understand is that the difference between a gamma camera image and a PET scanner image is that the PET scan produces a 3D image. Okay, so we can now see depth as well as length and height, and it also has a higher resolution. So where we have a really finicky or very detailed problems, right, we need a very detailed image to be diagnosed it. So we use a higher resolution camera, you could say, the PET scanner, which produces also a 3D image. Okay, now let's have a look at treatment. So something that you need to understand straight away is that high intensity radiation kills cells. Okay, it kills all types of cells if the radiation is high enough. So we can use things like alpha beams and gamma rays to kill cancer both on the outside of the body and on the inside of the body. So let's have a look at alpha beams first. So again, alpha has a very short range, but it's strongly ionizing, So it can kill cancers on top of the body, okay, of body. So this could be, say you had like a lump, an alpha beam could be used to kill whatever cells are present in that lump, and then that would be surgically removed. Okay, so that's when alpha beams are used, when the cancer is on the outside of the body. Then we can use gamma rays when cancer is inside of the body. Okay, so that's what actually this machine right here is doing. So inside there is a gamma source, and this entire mechanism is on like motors, right? So it can rotate, and you can and then the doctor can position exactly where it wants to penetrate into the body and kill clumps of cancer cells by the beam. Okay, so the beam will attack like the cancer cells by irradiating them, right? It will ionize the cancer cells, right? It will mutate them, and it will cause the cancer cells to just break apart and die.